Hey people out there, let us talk about last night's episode of Scandal. But first, let me gloat a little bit, you guys. Pat on the back. I'm just gonna say I told you so because I told you so in my review last week. And in this episode of Scandal, what we found out is that Poppy was right. So I think we should all just say it together, people. Poppy was right, and Poppy is always right. I can't hear you. Say it louder. So last week I mentioned that I thought it was possible that Mama Pope was gonna be a bad guy. And yeah, you guys, by the end of this episode, we get that she is. And that really Olivia's dad has spent this whole time trying to protect her from that. Obviously, you know, he's no saint. I'm not saying that. And he's definitely not gone about it in the right way. Do we not see why this woman is like she is? I mean, look at these two people that raised her. It's just some craziness. Speaking of crazy, let us talk about Huck and how annoyed I was with him in this episode. You guys know how much Quinn annoys me, right? And I know I'm not alone. I know so many of you guys are annoyed by her character as well. And this season, she's just been like annoying times 10. But I tell you what, you guys, that child was wrapped up with duct tape lying on the floor with her teeth like getting pulled out, and I felt really sorry for her, and I found myself starting to root for her. And I was annoyed by Huck, and not just by him, but I think by how the writers are choosing to deal with him. Like, I don't love the fact that he's taken like 50 steps back, you know? Like, I feel like in the first two seasons, we saw this kind of like really broken and just, you know, fragile kind of man. And we saw him kind of moving in the right direction. And that's just kind of all gone to hell, basically, at this point. I mean, he is back to being, you know, Huck the torturer. And it just was kind of, it was creepy, scary. And you guys, he was like seriously bordering on being a freaking serial killer as far as I'm concerned. I did think it was kind of funny when he told her he was going to give her the friends and family discount on torture. Really? Speaking of family, let's talk about Sally Langston, because if I could say I told you so about Mama Pope, Sally Langston surprised me. Like, I was yelling at my TV screen at the end of this episode, you guys. So, of course, we get that Cyrus has got these pictures of Sally Langston's husband and his husband, James. And I was really questioning last week, like, did James really sleep with him? Or was he just kind of putting on the show for Cyrus? But the more the episode went on, the more I got that James actually did sleep with this guy. He pretty much spent the whole episode just, like, playing Cyrus. Until finally, you know, he tells Cyrus that he knows the truth, that he knows what he did, that he basically pimped his own husband out. And they have this huge argument, of course, and you get that Cyrus is really crushed by what James has done. But at the same time, you also get that Cyrus really made his own bed. You know, this was his own doing, which kind of really sucks. I also thought it was really interesting because there was this moment between Cyrus and Melly where she just starts to give him some advice. Like, basically, you know, like, it hurts now, eventually it won't hurt anymore. And it's like, you get now that they have this thing in common. They both have a husband who has cheated on them. But Sally Langston, let's get back to her, because before she realizes what her husband has done, she's getting ready to basically have a press conference and tell the world what her plans are, that she's gonna run for president. And before that can happen, you know, Cyrus finally bucks up and uses the pictures. The look on her face, really, when Cyrus is leaving her office, you get that she was just crushed, you know, that her husband had done this to her. And so by the end of the episode, this woman calls Cyrus to be like, I have sinned. And the camera pans out and you see her husband laying on the floor like in a pool of blood. So basically Sally Langston has killed her husband. Oh my gosh! If you think about it too, it's really funny. The president and the vice president both have killed people, you know, within the 3 seasons of Scandal. Like, what kind of presidential ticket is this? Back to Mama Pope for a second. So during the whole episode, Olivia and her team are basically working to get Mama Pope out of the country because they think she's a good guy and they think they're trying to keep her safe from Olivia's dad. It's actually Olivia who realizes what's going on as she keeps having this memory of the day her mother left. You know, the last time she saw her mother when she was a kid. And she finally realizes that there was some phone call that somebody called and they called her mother a different name. And she realizes that basically this is the name of someone who is like a horrible terrorist and who has committed awful crimes. She starts to realize that that is her mother. By this point, it's too late, right? Because she's already wheeled and dealed her way into getting her mother out of the country. And so, yeah, I'm gonna definitely be interested to kind of see what develops after this. Knowing Olivia, I'm sure she's going to want to fix it because that's what she does. And so I'm sure she's going to be basically hunting down her mother. Now, for all you Olitz lovers out there, there was a fantastic tiny little Olit scene. It was basically a 1-minute moment, you guys, and it just was kind of awesome. They had this phone conversation, and you got that Olivia basically called him just because she needed to like calm down and she just needed to hear his voice. But it didn't just stop there, you guys. They were playing the music, and she said to him, like, I just need 1 minute. I just needed to talk to you about jam and kids and Vermont. Oh my gosh. And yeah, it was just kind of a centering, peaceful little moment. And I love how they do that in the episodes where it's like everything else is so fast paced and crazy, but then it's like you have this Olitz moment and that music starts to play and everything gets slow and calm and they're just talking to each other and you're just like, yeah. And I really like that because it just, again, kind of focuses in on what the heart of Scandal is all about. And let's just talk about Quinn again for 1 second, you guys, right? Because by the end of the episode, after she's been tortured by Huck, she's tried to escape, and Charlie shows up, and they have sex, because that's what you do after you've been tortured, I guess. We see Quinn walk into B613 like, hey, I'm joining the team, and I'm gonna help you take down OPA. But we also get that maybe, just maybe, she's there as a mole. So yeah, I kind of like the tension of that because it's like Quinn is doing something, finally, but we're not quite sure who she's working for. Yeah, you guys, overall, it was a really good episode. Just another great episode of Scandal. Shocking, even in ways that I wasn't expecting, and I always love when that happens. Can't wait to hear what you guys thought about it. Make sure you tell me down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.